What is up everyone, Shokari here, and today I am back with another Pokemon Scarlet and Violet video. Today I'm going to be covering EV training, what it is, why it's important, and how you can do it easily. So to start with, EVs are effort values. These are stats that your Pokemon earns naturally through battle. You earn them all the time, you earn them constantly. Whenever you defeat a wild Pokemon in battle, you gain EVs in a particular stat, sometimes 2, it depends on the Pokemon. But for the most part, you gain 1, 2, or 3 EVs in a stat, depending on the relative strength of the Pokemon you defeated. So for example, a Hoppip would give you 1 special defense EV, whereas a Jumpluff would give you 3. But then there are some single stage Pokemon like Flamigo that give just 2 attack EVs. So the way EVs work is every 4 EVs at level 100, every 4 EVs equals 1 point in the stat. You can have a maximum of 508 EVs on a Pokemon. The max you can have in one stat is 252. You cannot go over that number. You can only hit up to 252. So what does this mean? You can fully maximize 2 stats, because 252 times 2 is 504, which leaves 4 points left to put in one stat. That's if you're trying to completely maximize 2 stats. You can do a lot of various combinations, especially for competitive battling. For raids, you're pretty much looking at maximizing your HP, because survival is the most important thing in raids, and then maximizing whatever offensive stat you are using, either your physical or special attack. In competitive, typically competitive is played at level 50, so here's where EVs are a little bit different. At level 100, every 4 EVs is 1 point. At level 50, the first 4 points give you 1 point in that stat. But after every 4 EVs, you need another 8 to equal 1 more point. So basically, because you're cutting the level in half, you're doubling the amount of EVs required to get extra points. Right? Makes sense. A good example of that would be here on this Lucario. Right? I'm level 50, as we can see over here. I go up 4 points, and that boosted my HP by 1. It went from 145 to 146. If I drag the scale up, it jumps up to 12. 8 more points. So, if 4 boosted me 1 point, I can do 8. I'm still at 146. I'm getting no extra value out of that, so I have to go to 12 to get another point. Or I can just max it out, and it's going to be the same amount. But that's for competitive. We're not going to get too deep into very specific numbers you're trying to reach. That would be more on if I'm doing guides for specific Pokemon. But just as like a general rule, if that's something you're trying to aim for, it's something you can do. Just be mindful of your numbers. Why do EVs matter? Well, EVs affect your stats. If we come over here and we look at these 2 Koraidon I have, this is my Koraidon at level 100, perfectly fine. It has 306 attack. The Koraidon above it has been fully maximized in its attack with EVs, the full 252. It has 369 attack. That's a pretty big difference, wouldn't you say? So that's why EV training is important. You're able to reach these stat thresholds that matter. A good example of that would be Lucario again. Let me pull that back up. If we pull up these Lucario right here, this Lucario has fully invested in its HP and its defense, and it has a nature that is boosting its defense. So this is a very tanky Lucario. This Lucario, I have only invested in its attack. This is to show an example. For a Pokemon like Lucario, you don't want to do anything with your defenses because you're not getting any value of that. Why is that? Well, this Lucario, as defensive as we can possibly make it, is guaranteed one shot by this Lucario using close combat. It's a guaranteed kill, no matter how you look at it. So it does not gain us any advantage to be defensively training Lucario. Now, In raids, that's a different thing. In raids, you want more HP because you want to be able to live. But for competitive battling, Lucario is not going to be running full defense like any of that. So that's just an example to help you guys kind of visualize that. You kind of want to maximize your good stats and your bad stats. Maximizing them doesn't gain you anything. And then depending on the Pokemon, you're kind of spreading your EVs around a bit because you have a bunch of stats that you're trying to get better in, but you're not necessarily maximizing them. But that's, again, that's relative to each specific Pokemon, so I'm not going to actually cover that here. So how do we go about EV training? Well, it's very simple. Now, of note, you do not gain EVs from auto battling. You don't. So if you're trying to auto battle to get EVs, don't. It's not going to happen. So the way that EVs work is, again, you get 1, 2, or 3 points, EV points, when you defeat a Pokemon. However, there are items you can hold. Let me find them here. The power items. These increase your EVs for a specific stat. It says, like Power Bracer. An item be held by a Pokemon. Holding this bracer reduces a Pokemon's speed in battle. Irrelevant. But allows its attack stat to grow more quickly. So what happens is, holding this makes your Pokemon gain an additional 8 points in that respective stat. So, normally, if I'm just EV training, I'm just fighting Pokemon, it would take 252 Magikarp to maximize my speed stat, because 252 is the max. Magikarp gives 1 speed EV. But let's say I put on the Power Anklet, which boosts our speed. The speed EV is gained. So now I'm gaining 9, because 1 plus 8 is 9. Well, 252 divided by 9 is 28. So I went from having to fight 252 Magikarp down to just 28. That is a significant jump. So the power items are your best friend. They make this go incredibly quickly, and if you want to, you can even do a picnic to boost encounter rates for whatever type of Pokemon that you're looking for to make it go by even faster. I'm even going to do a time lapse here in a minute to show you just how quickly it takes. Alright, so as you can see here, this is a quick and easy chart of Pokemon that you can fight to earn EVs very early on. As you can see, almost all of these are in South Province Area 1. The rest are in Area 2 or Area 3, which are all very early game. The only notable exception here is Chansey, because Chansey also gives a ton of experience. It makes for very efficient HP farming, especially for raids, since you are also getting the added benefit of leveling up quickly. So where do you get the power items? You get the power items from any Delibird Presents shop. They are in the general goods section. I typically have about 6 of each, because you can EV train literally your entire team at one time. So I will just put 6 Pokemon in my party that I'm looking to get one particular stat boosted, slap the appropriate power item on them, and then go farm. Pretty simple. If there's Pokemon that I want one stat for, but not another, like let's say I have some Pokemon that want attack, some Pokemon that want special attack, I'll make sure to put the ones that are not currently training in the box, because we don't want them to get EVs that they don't need or aren't going to use. So I have a few Pokemon here in my party right now that I'm about to EV train. As you can see, some of them have a Power Bracer, some of them have a Power Lens. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the ones that are using the Bracer, and then level up the EV train the ones that are using the Lens separately, so I don't cross any unnecessary EVs. So I'm out here in the Mesa Goza East Gate. I'm about to grind up against Shinx, Yungoos, Growlithe. I'm specifically going to do a picnic for electric encounters, because Shinx is already quite plentiful down here, so I just want to make it even faster. So we're just going to make this as fast as we possibly can. So let's go ahead and look for a sandwich that boosts electric encounters. Okay, right here, the basic avocado sandwich, encounter power electric. That's exactly what we want. None of the other stats really matter, so let's go ahead and make the sandwich real quick. So we can see encounter power electric. That's going to be active for 30 minutes. You do have to actually battle the Pokemon to get the EVs. So I'm going to use my the PP of my moves to keep track of how many I've defeated. Because Shinx gives 1 EV, and I'm boosting that up to 9, I'm going to need to KO 28 Shinx. So I'm going to just start a timer and put this in a time lapse, and you guys can see just how fast this goes. Alright, so once that's over, just to check that you are maxed out, we'll go ahead and go to our Pokemon summary. We'll go over to its stats, and we are going to hit L to switch the graph view. You can see that the sparkles by attack are there. That means that stat is completely maxed out. And if we even look down on our Hariyama and our Citadel, we can see that they are also maxed out on attack, even though they did not participate in any battles, because they gained experience and they were holding the appropriate item. They were still able to gain the same amount of EVs that Mimikyu was gaining. So all I would do after this is just repeat the process for whatever Pokemon I have left, whatever stats I have left, and there you have it. You have fully EV trained Pokemon. One other way you can also EV train Pokemon, the very quick way, but also the more expensive way, is with the vitamins. We have protein, carbos, zinc, etc. They all give 10 EVs of their particular stat. So that is, each vitamin is worth 2.5 points. So if you were going to maximize one stat with just vitamins, it would take 26 of that vitamin, because 252 divided by 10 is, well, 250 divided by 10 is 25, plus the leftover 2 would be 1. Those 8 additional points would get wasted, but it's perfectly fine. Totally fine. So if you have the money to spare, you can just buy a lot of these at a Delibird store or the Chansey shop. I don't remember which one. They cost about 10,000 or 20,000 each, so it is a little bit more expensive, but if you have the money to burn, go ahead and do that. It's a lot faster. If your Pokemon is holding a power item, they do not gain the additional EVs from vitamins. It's only from battle. So, EV training does matter. It will help you a lot, especially in raids, especially in competitive. But especially on those 5 and 6 star raids, if you're wanting to solo them, you're going to need to EV train some of your Pokemon to have the best possible chance. Anyway, I hope this guide helps. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think, and I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, take care.